Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. So last time we finally met Klosterheim and found out that they are your character. Your character got a mind wipe and that they took over the title. So they pulled a Dread Pirate Roberts and just took the title and became you effectively. From last mission we leveled up twice and now we have the full, or close to the full, Venom Toxin Mastery Tree. I might slap the last two in, because it never hurts to just get the bleeding are slowed and plus 2 seconds to bleed effect duration. But we get 15% bonus damage for every damage over time effect on the target, and considering our gun, our rifle can stack 5 real quick, we should, in theory, be able to melt people. I cannot say with 100% certainty, because I may be wrong. Melt that down quick. And now we will enter the inner sanctum. That is actually, can I do that from here? Neat. Oh, it's just right back to here. My first encounter with Klosterheim was troubling, to say the least. I have learned a terrible secret about my past and must accept that before my voluntary mind-cleansing operation, we once shared the same ideas and walked the same path. And now, after establishing a fragile truce, we are heading towards Uther's inner sanctum together. I am afraid only death and madness await us there. At least that's positive thinking.
The inner sanctum.
This is the genitorium that powers the various dissection chapels and the laboratoriums in the sanctum. But we are close. I need to know something, Inquisitor. How did you find Martyr? Looking for me?
I wasn't even aware of your existence. Remember, I was sent here to investigate the source of an ancient inquisitorial distress signal.
It must have been the little temple. I am aware of that signal. It was activated by the rebels during the inner strife against Tiberius. It only transmits from time to time, in strange bursts.
Purified.
Oh, that's another thing. Is one thing that's brought up with 40K is the way events are written. It's kind of almost written into the lore that there's a certain amount of time distortion and like parallel realities going on at the same time, which allow for certain events to occur while other events occur at the exact same time. It's weird, but I think it's kind of cool. And it's not relied on for any of the narrative. It's not like just super heavy-handed, like, oh, the Emperor was here, here, and here at the same time.
See that sigil on the wall? I don't like the look of it. Still, it doesn't directly resemble any demonic or Xenos mark I know of.
Uther called them Imperial Seals. He studied forbidden summoning rites and the arcane machines of a lost civilization, and combined them with sanctioned practices. The seals trap the essence of destroyed demons, so they can't get back to the warp to reform.
Uther wanted to conceal the existence of his secret weapons, even from the minions of chaos. I feel far too close to heresy.
What are you talking about? We must fight fire with fire. You taught me that.
And I'm not the same person anymore.
Yeah, I'm gonna play as a normal, hardline overzealous Inquisitor. No being a radical this time. And honestly, the difference between playing as a radical and... in terms of, like... it's effectively like your perks that you can get, or skills. And the perks you get for being a radical kinda suck. There's only a handful that are good, and I only think they work... they only work really well for the Psyker. Otherwise, every other class benefits way more with damage reduction and damage boosts and just a bunch of useful stuff.
Eradicated.
Kinda wish these turrets spawned more in maps and were just way more useful. Because they're really cool, and they're an interesting threat, just... typically, instances like that arise where I can just run around them and blast the guy in the back. But I get it. You know, they can't be too powerful. You can't have, like, two locking a door.
And yet you are the same. It is disturbing.
I used to be the one hunting for the Martyr. And now you have all the answers. That's disturbing.
If it's any consolation, you were right all along. Uther Tiberius had a secret that could have changed the fate of the Imperium.
And you have learned the nature of the secret, I assume.
Indeed. It's a weapon with immense powers.
I have found some very old human remains here. They belonged to the crew of the Martyr.
When Uther's followers turned against him, the monastery was consumed by war. It crippled the ship eventually.
That's a bit that's interesting, is the fact that even within the crew of the ship, not everyone agreed with what Uther was doing.
Have you ever discovered the truth about Uther's secret weapon?
I have only heard rumors. The real answer lies here. I know that you could save the Imperium man from the tides of chaos, and that Uther Tiberius risked excommunication from the Inquisition to create his weapon.
If I could find a good one, I'd be willing to try an Exodus rifle and see how that pans out. I figure it's probably just high damage, low rate of fire, good single target DPS kind of deal. Or I could probably trash DPS, but good burst. It'll just be disappointing when I have to rebuild this.
Even more praiseworthy, Inquisitor.
We can only be purified by the blood of our enemies.
You might have changed, but your perspective on our eternal crusade certainly hasn't.
Eradicated. Purified.
One thing I was thinking about is I wish they would do more terrain for 40K. Because it seems like a lot of the battle reports I watch, people have to kind of scrape together whatever they can. And while that's fun, and adds to the uniqueness of each encounter, I just think there needs to be more kind of universal terrain pieces. Because I've seen people make like 3D printed buildings from Dawn of War 1. And I'm like, why don't we just have some of these buildings already, like the Imperial Guard buildings?
The inner sanctum is cut off from the rest of the ship, making it a black site. Even the machine spirit doesn't have eyes or ears there.
How do we get through the stasis field?
I've seen similar security systems on the ship. The status field must be deactivated using 2 different terminals in different places at the same time.
Tiberius was indeed quite protective of his secrets.
Proceed to the first cogitator. It must be close. I'll find the other one.
Like, the Imperial Guard buildings are really cool. It'd just be cool to have those available. Some of the Chaos stuff. Admittedly, the Dark Eldar buildings I can completely pass on. Eldar stuff is just, hey, we made a webway gate. And here's a webway gate, but a little different. They're not even, like, functional buildings. Plus, you could do cool, like, especially with Imperial Guard, you could do cool stuff like their headquarter building is this big bunker command center. And you could easily sell a version of that. You could sell an additional pack that has, like, a wall or 2 destroyed and part of the roof blown out.
How are you faring, Klosterheim?
That'd be cool. You know, I don't get how there's a degenerate tribe living on here. Like, I see boxes. I understand these. Pretty much every large ship in 40K is a generation ship. But we never see any, like, food areas. I at least remember in... what was it? Blood Gorgons? Yeah, that book. They kind of explain it because the Blood Gorgons themselves, they live, if I remember correctly, on a space hulk. And so there's areas where there would be food and they could hunt. Which once again makes space hulks really cool and should be in a better game than Space Hulk itself.
Of course. I'm approaching the terminal that will deactivate the...
And that never stops being fun. Oh, that's not good.
Pain is salvation.
We're gonna be doing slow, steady headshots. Unless we can pick off some of these guys.
Found you guilty of heresy.
Power sword blueprint, not that big a deal. Regenerate tower, neat. It would probably take forever, but I'd love to see a Apocalypse battle report, but they don't use any, like, super big things. Like, there's no Titans. It's just a lot more infantry. I want to see some meat grinder battle report.
I'm ready to deactivate the stasis field. Are you ready? The stasis field is down. Head back here.
Alright, one more level. Wait, no, not heat attacks. Actually, is there anything in heat? Not really. Yeah, well, yeah. The problem with that is I'd have to keep building more rifles until I get bleed again. So we're just gonna go with flat 1.5% damage boost. Now we get to enter the Sanctum. My short alliance with Klosterheim came to a quick end. I found a way into the inner sanctum, but Klosterheim disappeared under suspicious circumstances. Treachery? Probably. Surprising? Hardly. It doesn't matter anymore. The secrets of the Martyr are more important than a feud between two Inquisitors.
Klosterheim, where are you? Can you hear me? Klosterheim, if you can hear me. I'm heading towards the inner sanctum. Meet me there.
Weren't we just at the inner sanctum, though, or like the entrance to it?
Thorn, I found the body of a word bearer. There is just one, and he looks dead. I was wrong. He's alive.
And now we finally get a different kind of space marine besides... I think we encountered some plague marines.
Loading. Another traitor marine lies on the ground. According to the message I found, there were more of them, and they were trying to extricate data from the specific cogitators.
That actually is a good segue to a new topic. The Word Bearers. So, the Word Bearers, for those who don't know, they're a Chaos Space Marine group that... back before the Horus Heresy, they were diehard fanatics even then. And instead of... And now, instead of worshipping the Emperor, now they're diehard fanatics for Chaos. The Primarch Logar is... If I remember correctly, he has a ton of tattoos on his face for the writings of, I guess, Chaos at this point.
What was a Chaos warband doing here all those years? I see. Deactivated this as an unfixed. in hibernation until someone entered the area.
And yeah, the word bearers, that's really their whole big thing, is they're just fanatics. They don't have any super, at least that I know of, anything super special. You know, they're not like the Night Lords with a dope paint scheme, or Plague Marines covered in snot. They're just like space angry Jehovah's. But instead of being nice about asking if you've heard the word of Jesus, they'll just, like, smack you with a book. Or in this case, smack you with their fists. I think they're kind of one of the most boring groups of Chaos Space Marines.
Loading!
At least with, like, Thousand Suns. They have an interesting backstory. You got Magnus the Red, who's at least an interesting Primarch. An idiot, but interesting. Oh yeah, I was about to say, I couldn't remember the name for the Iron Hands. Or, no, it's the Iron Warriors. They're the Chaos ones. Iron Hands are the Loyalist Space Marines that everybody tried dumping their models once the rules got changed and they got a nerf. Because they were stupidly powerful, apparently. But the Iron Warriors, their leaders, Perturabo.
Loading.
They were, if I remember right, Master Siege Engineers.
New log entry. More Empyrean seals, but they're broken. Considering that these seals trap the essence of destroyed demons, so they can't get back to the warp to reform. I don't like the implications.
I mean, the implication is pretty simple. Demons got out and have to reform. I don't know how long they take to reform. I think it's dependent on the entity themselves. More dumpy, worthless enemies, the faster they regen, because they're dumpy and worthless. So, I mean, is that really a big deal considering the number of, number of nurglings I've had to flatten lately? Just kind of goofy to be like, oh no, demons. My dude, I've been fighting demons this whole time. It's not like I'm fighting a great unclean one, or a bloodthirster. Wait for him to explode. You are a sorcerer. You're supposed to explode. Okay. Don't do it, I guess. Make me look like an idiot. See if I care. I do care. A lot.
Time to find out what they were looking for. Plenty shots fired.
Yeah, these guys really like to just jump on you.
Tech Priest, inload the flagged picked recording from this cogitator. This woman might be the key to Uther's secret experiments. Is she a psychic blank? The antithesis of a psyker? Did Uther Tiberius test his secret weapon on someone without any presence in the warp?
And that's something I had mentioned before, is psychic blanks being completely absent in the warp.
Eliminated.
They can also cause physical pain to psychers, and in some cases actually kill them simply by being in their presence. If I remember correctly, that's what the Sisters of Silence are within the Adeptus Sororitas, is they're all psychic blanks.
Reloading.
Didn't expect myself to be able to shoot through it, but not shoot around it. Man, look at all those debuffs. We got a loot box over here with more word bearers.
I found it. Guilty. Of course.
Man, I love those remote mines. Uh-oh. I just realized I'm starting to sink through the ground. Don't want to keep that going. Last thing I need is to glitch the game out and get sucked through the floor or something.
Target locked.
Oh, neat. I love when the targeting glitches out like that. You probably most realistically walked out of what I could actually target and just I let go at the wrong time.
So there was a whole warband. They came here to find something, and were trapped on the ship.
That was a solid hit. That one Space Marine should go down. Man, I'm just thinking what would happen if there was a Dawn of War game with the amount of like weapon customization this game has. Just being able to have like your main like HQ Lord hero character being able to be just a variety of things, a Death Cult Assassin, all the different weapons you could choose from. That'd be really fun. Balance might be difficult, but that's kind of what you do over time. Nothing's ever balanced at launch. And Snooper. Yeah, close enough. Hey, another bit of loot. With... Ward Bear.
Target locked.
I need to hit that medical bundle, or supply box. Because I did not realize how many inoculators I had burned. And I need more mines.
Eradicated.
I don't like the number of word bearers moving on me.
Loading.
I do kind of wish Loyalist Space Marines would do a bit more with their paint schemes and with their armor appearance. Like, when you look at Chaos, they stand out a lot from their general armor layout to their paints. Like, the Night Lords are pretty blatant who they are. The only Loyalists I can think of with a unique paint scheme would be Legion of the Damned. Past that, everybody's just like, hi, we're one color. Hi, we're two colors split down the middle. You know, I want a group of Space Marines rocking that samurai aesthetic. Let them have the layered plates on the shoulders and have them have just a more unique look. Give someone a cool paint scheme. Don't be afraid. I mean, Space Wolves have fur on their stuff and runes carved into things, but that's the only other one. Do you explode? No, okay. Whatever. Don't explode, see if I care. Again. It would also be cool if we had, because Horus Heresy Thousand Suns looked so cool. I mean, normal Thousand Suns, at least the Rubric Marines look cool, but they had a whole army that had that Egyptian aesthetic. And that's pretty cool to me.
Eliminated. Strange. She is untouchable, which makes her a shield against chaos, but she shouldn't be capable of a feat like this.
Even the Imperial Guard have unique appearances. Between the, I think it's the Talarn Sand Raiders, the Vestroyan Firstborn, the... Oh, I'm trying to think of who the other ones are. The Death Corps of Krieg, and there's a couple other ones I know of, but they all have unique appearances. Admittedly, their vehicles don't really change. I want something really gaudy looking. I want some Imperial Guard group where all their tanks are pimped out in gold or something. Some completely absurd appearance. but have it explained in lore as like, oh, their planet is surrounded by a huge asteroid field rich in gold, and it's a very mineral-rich planet, but due to that and their own greed, they've had, as a tithe, they've had to send a bunch of their civilians as soldiers, and because iron's harder to find on the planet, they use gold for a bunch of stuff. Or at least gold plate. So you have like a steel plating underneath to give the armor just a really cool look while still remaining functional. They could do that with Space Marines. I want my bling Marines.
Purified.
And that really makes me want to have... If I had a Space Marine to paint, I'd want to make him purple with leopard print accents and just have the first ever pimp Marine.
Honor me with your
Eradicated.
Or now that I think about it, it'd be cool. Yeah, I would have the most memey group of Space Marines, because I'd have to have one painted up and modeled to look like Hulk Hogan. Because it just makes it funnier, because Space Marines call each other brother, and just having a Hulk Hogan Space Marine just being like, "Brother, I am pinned." It would be funny. Stupid, but funny. A Space Marine chapter called the Hulkamaniacs. It'd be terrible, but it would be so funny.
Tech Priest, I have no new records to send you, but I've discovered that even Uther's people found that strange test subject extremely disturbing. Whatever this creature is, she must have been Uther's greatest secret. I must find out more. Tell me. Perfect.
Alright, so that is all for today. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to hit the like button. It helps out the channel a lot. If you are new, please make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.